The year is 1941. America's industrial might is awakening, but a single, painstaking task threatens to choke the war machine: shipbuilding. Time is the enemy and naval construction is lagging. We're diving into the untold story of one man whose simple idea saved a nation. Before we do, hit subscribe and like to support more stories of American ingenuity. Our focus is Mare Island Naval Shipyard in California, where men like Ted Nelson worked $11 a day shifts. Nelson was a welder, a keen observer who saw inefficiency everywhere, particularly in the tedious process of securing wooden deck planks, electrical cables, and insulation to the steel hulls. To attach anything to the steel deck, Nelson's crew had to painstakingly drill holes through the deck plates, then thread and weld studs from underneath the steel. This meant building huge, expensive scaffolding inside the ship, slowing everything down. It was slow, dangerous, and a massive drain on man-hours. Nelson realized the solution was to eliminate the drilling and the scaffolding. He needed a way to attach a metal stud directly to the steel plate in one quick step: welding from the top down. His vision was simple: a spring-loaded gun and a tiny ceramic cap. He invented the stud welding process. A stud is placed in the gun, a ceramic flux ferrule cap is placed over it, and a pull of the trigger completes the weld in less than a second. No holes, no scaffolding, just instant attachment. It was a revolutionary idea. Excited, Nelson brought his invention to his superiors at Mare Island. They were Navy ordnance supervisors, men of strict regulation and hierarchy. Their response? Dismissal. They told Nelson his idea was too simple, too radical, and that they didn't have time for the invention of an $11-a-day welder. They refused to listen. They refused to test it. They refused to believe a solution to a massive industrial bottleneck could come from the bottom of the hierarchy. Nelson was devastated but unbowed. He realized if the Navy wouldn't back him, he would back himself. Nelson quit his job at Mare Island. He was not a businessman, he was a welder. But he saw the need and he knew his invention was necessary for the war effort. He borrowed $95,000, a monumental sum for the time, and set up a workshop in his garage. He named his company the Nelson Stud Welding Corporation. Then came Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. Suddenly, speed became the only metric that mattered. America declared war, and President Roosevelt demanded a shipbuilding program of unprecedented scale. The efficiency bottleneck that Nelson warned about became a national crisis. Overnight, the Navy supervisors who had dismissed Nelson were desperate. The need for speed was now critical, and Ted Nelson's small company, building guns in a garage, was the only one with the solution. The shipyards that once rejected him now rushed to place orders. The guns were an instant success. They eliminated the need for complex, two-sided welding and the accompanying scaffolding. A single stud could be attached in the time it took to measure and mark a hole. It was a time-saving revolution that spread across every shipyard in the country. The impact on the war effort was colossal. Nelson's simple innovation accelerated production on everything from aircraft carriers to landing craft. His process was directly responsible for saving the U.S. Navy over 50 million man-hours during World War II. That saved time meant ships rolled off the line at impossible speeds. The American shipbuilding miracle, producing over 2710 Liberty ships and 203 submarines during the war, was made possible in part by the efficiency of Nelson's guns. The Navy, having initially dismissed him, gave Nelson's company the highest honor, 2 Navy E Citations for excellence in war production. The $11-a-day welder, dismissed by bureaucracy, was now a celebrated contributor to the Allied victory. Nelson's persistence created a vast, new industry. After the war, his stud welding technology moved from military ships to civilian construction, securing steel beams, building bridges, and even holding the metal siding on skyscrapers. It became a global standard. This is a powerful lesson in innovation. The solution to a massive industrial problem was not complex, expensive technology, but an unbelievably simple tool conceived by a man on the shop floor. He was a perfect example of a bottom-up solution rejected by a top-down bureaucracy. Ted Nelson proved that true ingenuity doesn't care about your title or your paycheck. It only cares about solving the problem. His stubborn belief in his idea, his willingness to bet everything on himself, not only made him a success but gave the United States a secret weapon that accelerated the flow of materials across the oceans and helped win World War II.